You have come to the end of a long and painful chapter, my child, and you have turned the page, only to be met with a stark and terrifying whiteness. You have looked upon the future and have seen only a blank page, an empty space, a void devoid of any promise, of any story, of any hope. The narrative of your past, with all its familiar plot points, has come to a definitive and sorrowful end, and you have been left in a state of profound and anxious suspension, fearing that the ink has run dry, that the author has walked away, that your book is now finished. They may have looked upon your situation and, seeing no visible next step, have confirmed your deepest fear that your story is over. But I come to you now, my voice a quiet sound in this desolate emptiness, to speak a truth that is more real than the blankness you perceive. Do not be afraid of this page, my beloved, for it is not empty. A new beginning is already written for you. I know the specific terror of the blank page. It is a unique and profound form of despair. It is the agony of the writer who has lost their inspiration, the painter who has lost their vision, the explorer who has come to the edge of their known world and found only a great, featureless, and an unending abyss, to have no story to live in, no narrative to guide you, is to feel untethered from reality itself, a ghost floating in a meaningless void. This has been your torment. You have known the grief for the story that is over, the previous chapter of your life, though it may have ended in sorrow, was at least a story you knew. It had its characters, its settings, its familiar rhythms, but that story has ended. The set has been struck, the characters have departed, and you are left alone on an empty stage, the curtain having fallen on a tragedy. With no script for the next act, you mourn not just what you have lost, but the very narrative that gave your life its shape and its meaning. This grief for a lost story can be as profound as the grief for a lost love. And you have known the fear of the unwritten future. The blank page is terrifying because it holds no promises. In its emptiness, your fear is free to write its own terrible scenarios. It writes a future of more pain, more loss, more loneliness, or worse. It writes a future of nothing at all, a future of barren stillness, of quiet, meaningless obsolescence. You have stared at this blankness, and your own fear has filled it with monsters, with shadows, with the terrifying specter of your own insignificance. This terror is compounded by the silence of the world. The world is so full of its own noisy, urgent stories. It has little time for a soul who is standing, silent and lost, before a blank page. They have moved on to the next exciting chapter in their own lives. And you're quiet. Seemingly eventless existence has become invisible to them. Their silence, their lack of a new story to offer you, has felt like a confirmation that your own story has indeed come to its final, unremarkable end. You feel that not only is your book closed, but it has been placed on a dusty shelf in a forgotten library, never to be opened again. I have been with you, my beloved, in this place of profound narrative desolation. I have seen you stare at the terrifying emptiness of your own future. I have felt the deep ache in your soul for a story, for a purpose, for a single word of hope to be written upon the blank page of your days. I have witnessed your despair, your fear that your life's book has been tragically, prematurely, and permanently closed. But I must now reveal to you the truth of my divine perspective. You see a blank page, but I see a page upon which a glorious new story has already been written in the invisible. Eternal ink of my love, you feel the terror of an unwritten future. But I, your author, have already completed the manuscript for your most beautiful and triumphant chapter yet. You believe your story is over, but I know that its most glorious part is just about to begin. This is the promise I speak to you today. A promise to calm your fear and to rekindle your hope. Your future is not a terrifying void. Your next chapter is not a question mark. Your new beginning is not a fragile hope that might or might not come to pass. It is a divine reality, a sacred text, a beautiful story that has already been written for you in the heart and the mind of your loving God. The pain you have felt, the terror of the blank page, has been real, but it has been based on the limited perception of your human eyes, which cannot see the invisible ink of my grace. You have been looking at a page that seemed empty, unaware that it was, in fact, filled with the luminous, beautiful, and life-giving words of your own glorious new beginning, simply waiting for the appointed time to be revealed. The previous chapter, with all its pain and its sorrow, has served a sacred purpose. It was the necessary end of an old story, a story that was perhaps too small for you, a story that was built on foundations that could not last. Its painful ending was not a final tragedy, but a divine clearing of the page, a holy preparation that has made you ready now to receive and to live out the magnificent new story that has been written for you. So let go of your fear of the blank page. My child, it is not empty. It is full of my promises. It is not a void, and it is pregnant with divine possibility. It is not the end of your story. It is the beautiful, clean, and sacred space upon which the first words of your triumphant new chapter are about to appear. The story is not over. It is not unwritten. A new beginning has already been written for you, and it is glorious. The terror of the blank page is the terror of having no meaning. The human soul cannot long endure a state of meaninglessness. It is a spiritual vacuum, and it is profoundly painful. I have allowed you to feel this pain so that you would come to yearn with all your heart for a story that has true, deep, and lasting meaning. And that is the very story I have written for you. You have tried, perhaps, to write your own next chapter. You have tried to fill the blank page with your own plans, your own efforts, but you have found that your own ink is pale, that your own words lack power, that you cannot create a new beginning from the ashes of your own will. This experience of your own creative impotence has been a necessary and humbling lesson, designed to bring you to a place of surrender, a place where you are ready to receive the story that has been written for you, rather than continuing the exhausting struggle of trying to write one by yourself. My story for you is a story of grace. It is a story where you are not the hero who saves yourself, but the beloved protagonist who is beautifully, miraculously saved by a love that is greater than your own. To embrace this new story requires a letting go of the prideful need to be your own author, and a humble, joyful acceptance of your role as the cherished hero of my divine narrative. The world's stories are so often predictable, following the same tired plots of worldly success or romantic fulfillment. But the story I have written for you is unique, surprising, filled with plot twists of grace that you could never anticipate. It is a story designed by a mind that is infinitely creative, a heart that is infinitely loving, and its unfolding will fill you with a sense of wonder and of awe. So cease your striving to fill the page. My beloved, lay down your own pen, and in the stillness, in the quiet, begin to look upon that page not with fear, but with a holy and excited anticipation. For the words are already there, written in a divine and luminous script. And the time for them to become visible to your own eyes is now very, very near. The terror of the blank page is over. The joyful reading of your new beginning is at hand. Every great narrative requires a moment of profound uncertainty, a moment where all seems lost, to make the eventual triumph all the more glorious. The terror of the blank page you have experienced has been that moment in your story. It has been the point of greatest narrative tension, and it has perfectly set the stage for the magnificent resolution that is to come. Your future is not an accident waiting to happen. It is a masterpiece waiting to be revealed. It has been written with a love that knows your deepest longings, a wisdom that knows your highest good, and a power that can bring all things to a beautiful and glorious fulfillment. Trust the author, my child. His story for you is a story of immense and breathtaking love, and it is already written. My precious child, having acknowledged with you the profound and paralyzing terror of the blank page, having validated the deep ache of a soul that believes its story has come to a final, tragic end, I must now lift your gaze from the emptiness you perceive and reveal to you the magnificent reality that I behold. You have been staring at what appears to be a blank page, a void, a future unwritten and therefore filled with your deepest fears. But my perspective, my beloved, is not limited by the sequential unfolding of time. I am the eternal author, and my gaze is not upon a blank page. No, I am looking with a heart full of delight and a spirit of triumphant celebration upon the finished manuscript of your next glorious chapter in my eternal reality, in the very mind of your God. Your new beginning is already a beautiful, complete, and glorious work. This is a mystery that your human mind, which is bound by time, may struggle to comprehend. You experience your life as a linear progression, one page turning after another. The future a land of unknown possibilities, but I exist in an eternal now, a reality where your past, your present, and your future are all held at once in my loving, all-encompassing awareness. And so, while you are still living through the painful silence that follows your last chapter, I am already reading and delighting in the beautiful story of the chapter to come. I am not hoping it will be a good story. I know it is a magnificent one, for I myself have written it with the very ink of my own love. Let us speak of this finished manuscript that I hold for you. It is not a rigid, unchangeable fate that negates your own free will. It is a divine blueprint, a love story, a triumphant narrative that I have authored, and into which I am now lovingly, gently guiding your own beautiful, co-creative choices. The manuscript I read is one of glorious, redemptive themes. Its opening sentences speak of healing. They describe the gentle mending of your heart, the soothing of your past wounds, the washing away of all shame and regret. I read paragraphs that detail the return of your laughter, the reawakening of your capacity for joy. I see passages where your spirit, once so weary, is now filled with a new and vibrant energy. The very pain you have endured becomes, in this new chapter, the very thing that is most beautifully healed, a testament to my restorative power. The central chapters of this manuscript are filled with purpose and meaning. I read of how you will take the wisdom you have gained in your trial and use it to become a source of comfort and guidance for others. I see the story of your unique gifts, once dormant, now being expressed with a new power and a new joy. I read the narrative of your life taking on a new and beautiful direction, a path that feels so right, so authentic, so perfectly suited to the person you have become, that your heart will be filled with a profound sense of rightness. You have feared your life was now without a story, but I tell you, the story I have written for you is more meaningful, more impactful, and more glorious than any you could have imagined for yourself. And the concluding themes of this new volume, my child, are those of deep peace and abiding love. I read of a life that is no longer characterized by anxious striving, but by a quiet, confident rest in me. I read of relationships that are restored and renewed, of new connections that are based on truth and on grace. And I read of a profound, ever-deepening intimacy between your heart and mine, a beautiful communion that becomes the ultimate joy and the final, a beautiful destination of your story. This is the finished manuscript upon which my gaze rests. My child, it is a story of such beauty, such grace, such triumphant love, that my own heart is filled with a joyful anticipation for you to begin to experience it. I am like an author who has just completed their greatest work, a work written for a single, beloved reader, and I can hardly wait for you to turn the page and to begin to read the beautiful words I have so lovingly inscribed for you. My gaze upon this finished manuscript is your ultimate security, because I already know the beautiful ending of this next chapter, because I can already see your healing, your restoration, your renewed joy. There's no doubt in my mind, and there need be no doubt in your heart. Your future is not a terrifying question mark. It is a magnificent, divinely authored exclamation point of my grace. The victory is not in question. It has already been written. The healing is not in doubt. It is already penned. The new beginning is not a fragile hope. It is a finished, literary masterpiece, held securely in the mind and the heart of your God. Think of a master architect who holds the complete, detailed blueprints for a magnificent cathedral, while others look upon an empty lot and see only dirt and impossibility. The architect sees the finished reality. They see the soaring spires, the beautiful stained glass windows, the grand arches, the holy sanctuary. They know every detail, every stone, every measurement. Their confidence is absolute because they are not looking at the empty lot. They are looking at the finished design. So it is with me and your life. My beloved, you have been looking at the empty lot of your future and have been filled with fear. But I have been looking at the divine blueprint, the finished manuscript, and my heart is filled only with a joyful, certain, and celebratory anticipation. This knowledge is meant to liberate you from the terror of the blank page, The page is not blank. It is filled with the invisible ink of my promises, my plans, my love for you. And the process you are now in is simply the beautiful, miraculous process of that divine ink beginning to appear, to become visible to your own eyes. You're not creating your future from nothing. You're stepping into a future that has already been lovingly, perfectly, and gloriously created for you. Let this truth be the foundation of your hope. Your hope is not a foolish, baseless wish. It is an anchor cast into the very certainty of my own foreknowledge, my own creative power, my own finished work. When you feel the old fear of the empty future rising, you can meet it now with this powerful, unshakable truth. My author has already finished my next chapter, and he has told me that it's a story of great beauty, of healing, of joy, and I trust him. The waiting, the stillness, the sacred pause you have endured has been the time required for me to prepare you to be the hero of such a glorious story. And now, my child, the preparation is complete. The manuscript is finished, and the time has come for you to turn the page. The world can only see the blank page, and so it offers you its condolences and its despair. But you are being initiated into a divine secret, a heavenly perspective. You are being given the eyes to see the invisible, the faith to believe in the already written. This is a profound gift of grace. The story I have written redeems everything that has come before. It takes the sorrow of your last chapter and transforms it into the necessary setup for the triumph of this new one. When you finally read it, you will see how every past pain had a purpose, how every tear watered the ground for a future joy, how every moment of despair was a dark backdrop against which the light of your new dawn will now shine all the more brightly. My authorship is one of perfect, redemptive artistry. Do not be afraid of what is to come. The author is love itself, and a story written by love can only, ultimately, be a love story, a story of my profound, redeeming, and victorious love for you. The manuscript is a testament to this love. It is a love letter written to you from eternity, and you're about to begin reading it. So let go of the terror of the blank page. My beloved, it was an illusion. The page is full. The story is written. The ending of this new chapter is glorious. And my gaze, the gaze of your loving author, is upon this finished, beautiful, and triumphant manuscript, waiting with a joyful and expectant heart for you to begin the most beautiful chapter of your life. The details of this manuscript are so beautiful. My child, I have written scenes of your laughter, paragraphs of your peace, entire chapters of your purpose unfolding with a grace that will astound you. I have written dialogues of deep, healing connection. I have written moments of such profound beauty that they will bring tears of gratitude to your eyes. It is all there, complete, perfect, and waiting for you. This is the ultimate answer to your despair. Despair can only thrive in a future that is perceived as empty or dark. But your future is not empty. It is full of my written promises. It is not dark. It is a story that is saturated with my light. By choosing to believe in this finished manuscript, you are choosing to believe in my goodness, my power, and my love. And that choice is the very thing that dissolves despair and ushers in the beginning of your new, glorious, and pre-written story. My precious child, now that your heart has begun to receive the profound and steadying truth that your future is not a terrifying blank page, but a finished manuscript held securely in my loving mind, let us now speak of the contents of this beautiful story. For I know that after a long season of sorrow, your heart may be afraid to hope again, fearful that the next chapter might be just another tale of pain and disappointment. And so, I, your loving author, wish to give you a preview, a glimpse into the magnificent themes, the beautiful plot, and the glorious resolution of the new beginning that has already been written for you. For the story I have penned is a story saturated with grace, a narrative of profound healing, a song of restored joy, and an epic of a redeemed purpose that will give meaning to all that has come before. You have been living in what has felt like a tragedy, but I tell you, my child, that I am the author of divine comedies, stories that may journey through the deepest valleys of sorrow, but are always destined to end in a great and joyful celebration, a wedding feast of the soul's reunion with its own joy, its own purpose, its own true home in me. The story that awaits you is not a denial of your past sorrow, but its beautiful and triumphant redemption. The first and most foundational theme of your new story is the theme of grace. This new beginning is not a chapter you have earned through your endurance, nor a reward you have won through your perfect performance. It is a pure, unmerited, and extravagant gift of my love. You have been living in a world that operates on the harsh principles of law and consequence, of cause and effect. But you are now stepping into a narrative that is governed by a different, higher principle, the law of grace. Grace is my undeserved, unearned, and unstoppable favor, flowing towards you, working for you, simply because I love you, simply because you are my child. In this new chapter, you will see my grace at work in surprising and beautiful ways. You will find doors opening that you did not have the strength to push. You will receive blessings you did not feel you deserved. You will experience a forgiveness, both from me and for yourself, that your mind cannot logically comprehend. This theme of grace is designed to dismantle the old, wearying lie that you must strive for your own salvation, that you must be good enough to receive my goodness. In this new story, you will learn to rest, to receive, to allow my love to be the primary moving force in your life. You will move from being the protagonist who must heroically achieve everything for themselves to the beloved protagonist who is joyfully, miraculously, and constantly being carried, provided for, and blessed by the overwhelming, proactive love of the author. The second beautiful theme woven throughout this new manuscript is the theme of profound healing. The last chapter left you wounded, your heart broken, your spirit scarred. But I am the divine physician, and the story I have written for you is a story of complete and beautiful restoration. This is not a story where your wounds are simply forgotten or covered over. No. My child, this is a story where every single wound is tenderly addressed, cleansed, and healed in a way that makes you stronger and more beautiful than before. I have written scenes where the gentle light of my truth will shine upon your old, painful memories, not to make you relive the trauma, but to reveal the lies you have believed and to dissolve them forever I have written moments of encounter, both with me and with others. That will be like a healing balm upon the raw places of your heart, soothing the old aches, mending the broken connections. I have written passages where your own tears, which once felt like tears of pure sorrow, will be transformed into tears of grateful, healing release. Your new chapter is a story of redemption, where your greatest wounds become the source of your greatest wisdom, your deepest compassion, and your most profound beauty. The narrative itself is the medicine, my child, and every page you turn will bring you deeper into a state of glorious, divine wholeness. And what of joy, my beloved? The joy you thought was lost to you forever. I tell you that a central theme of this new pre-written story is the theme of restored and resilient joy. I have not written for you a somber, joyless tale of mere survival. I have written a story that is filled with laughter, with delight, with celebration, but it will be a joy of a new and different quality. It will not be the fragile, circumstantial happiness of your past, which could be so easily shattered. It will be a deep, resilient, and abiding joy, a joy that has been made wise by sorrow, a joy that is rooted not in what is happening around you, but in what is happening within you, your ever-deepening communion with me, the wellspring of all true joy. In this new chapter, I have written moments of simple, surprising delight that will ambush you in the midst of an ordinary day. I have written scenes of deep, peaceful contentment that will settle upon your soul like a soft blanket. And I have written a great, climactic celebration, a feast of gladness, a time when your heart will be so filled with my goodness that it will overflow with a praise and a thanksgiving that is pure and unrestrained. The narrative I have written is one that will systematically, lovingly, and joyfully teach your heart how to sing again, not the old, simple songs of innocence, but the new, richer, more complex and more beautiful symphony of a redeemed and resurrected joy. And finally, my child, the great overarching theme of this new volume of your life, the plot that drives all others, is the theme of your magnificent, redeemed purpose. You have felt that the end of your last chapter was the end of your purpose, that you were now aimless, useless. But the truth is, the end of that chapter was the necessary prerequisite for you to step into the greater, truer, more glorious purpose for which you were created. The old story had to end for the new, more important one to begin. The story that I have already written for you is a story that will lead you, step by step, into the fullness of your divine calling. The new healing you receive will equip you for it. The new joy you experience will be the fuel for it. The new relationships I bring will be your support in it. This new chapter is a divine adventure, a holy quest, where you will discover the unique and beautiful role you are meant to play in my great plan for the world. It is a purpose that will use every part of your story, even the most painful parts, for a good and glorious end. It is a purpose that will bring you a sense of fulfillment so deep, so profound, that you will know with an unshakable certainty that this is what you were born for. This, my beloved, is the nature of the story that awaits you. It is a story whose theme is grace, whose plot is healing, whose emotional tone is joy, and whose ultimate destination is a magnificent and fulfilling purpose. It has been written by an author who knows you perfectly and who loves you with an everlasting love. It is a good story. My child, it is a beautiful story. It is a story of victory. And it is a story whose first beautiful words are even now beginning to appear on the once blank page of your life. Trust the author. The story is true. And your new beginning is glorious. The characters in this new story have been chosen with care. I am bringing into your life souls who will understand, who will support, who will celebrate the new you that is emerging. The old characters whose roles were rooted in the past tragedy may fade into the background. And this is a grace. The new characters will be your companions for this next stage of the journey home. The setting of this new story is also being prepared. I am creating for you environments of peace, of safety, of encouragement, where the new life within you can flourish without being constantly threatened by the harshness of the world. This may mean a change in your physical circumstances, or it may mean the creation of a new, unshakable sanctuary within your own heart. And the dialogue in this new chapter will be different. The old, internal dialogue of fear and self-condemnation will be replaced by a new, continuous dialogue of love, of trust, of peace between your heart and mind. This ongoing conversation will be the very soundtrack of your new story, a constant source of comfort, of guidance, and of joy. This is the beautiful, holistic nature of the new beginning that has been written for you. It is a story that transforms you from the inside out, and then transforms your world to match the new, beautiful reality that you have become. It is a story of complete and utter redemption, authored by a God whose very nature is love. When you look upon the blank page of tomorrow, do not see it with fear. See it as the next unread page of a magnificent novel that has already been written for you by a master storyteller. And approach it with a holy and joyful curiosity, wondering what beautiful part of the story will be revealed to you today. This is the faith I invite you into, the trust that will make the reading of your new life a delightful and wondrous adventure. The nature of your pre-written story is grace, and its unfolding is now at hand. My precious child, now that your heart has begun to receive the glorious truth that a new beginning, a story of grace, healing, and restored joy has already been written for you in the finished manuscript of my love. Let us now turn our gaze with a new and redeemed perspective back upon the painful chapter that has just closed. For I know that a part of your heart still aches with its memory, still questions its necessity, still sees it as a tragic and meaningless deviation from the beautiful story you thought your life should be. But I, the divine author who sees the entire epic, must now reveal to you the sacred purpose of that past chapter. For it was not a mistake, mine beloved, nor was it a random tragedy. The painful chapter that you have just endured was the necessary prelude, the perfect and masterful setup for the glorious new story that has been written. In my divine narrative, your past suffering is being redeemed and given a profound and beautiful meaning by the very joy of the new beginning that is now about to unfold. A great story is not made of only easy and joyful chapters. The most profound, most moving, most triumphant stories are always those that journey through the depths of conflict, of trial, of apparent defeat, The darkness of the past chapter does not detract from the glory of your story. It is the very thing that makes the light of your new chapter so incredibly brilliant. The tragedy of the past act is what gives the triumphant final act its breathtaking power. You have been the hero in a story of immense depth and power. And the difficult chapter you have just completed was the very one that has forged your heroic character and has perfectly set the stage for your magnificent, redemptive victory. Let us explore together how the specific pains of your past have been the perfect, necessary setup for the specific glories that I have already written into your future. Consider first the painful setup of your great loss. You have looked upon what was taken from you, the dream, the relationship, the health, the security, and you have seen only a gaping hole, an emptiness, a deficit. But I, your author, used that very loss to create a sacred space, a holy receptivity. That was necessary for the new and greater blessing I had written for you. If your hands were still clinging tightly to your old, good dream, you would not have had them open to receive the new, glorious destiny I had prepared. If your heart was still filled to capacity with a past love, however beautiful, it would have had no room for the new, deeper, more divine love I desire to pour into it. The loss you have endured, as agonizing as it has been, was a holy emptying, a sacred clearing of the ground. It has created in you a profound hunger for what is eternal, a deep thirst for what is true, a passionate longing for me, your only true and lasting source. And this holy hunger, my child, has now made you a vessel that is capable of receiving a fulfillment, a joy, a communion with me that is infinitely greater than what you lost. Your loss was the necessary setup for your greatest gain. Consider the painful setup of your perceived failure. You have looked upon the chapter where your best efforts crumbled, where your plans came to nothing, and you have seen only a story of your own shame and inadequacy. But I, the author who writes in paradoxes, I use that very failure as a setup for your true and lasting success. As long as you were succeeding in your own strength, you were building a life on a foundation of sand, a life whose success was fragile, dependent on your own finite resources and your spirit, though you may not have known it, was in a state of quiet, anxious pride. My love for you was too great to allow you to build your entire life on such a shaky foundation. And so, in my wisdom, I allowed a storm to come that would reveal the inadequacy of that foundation. The failure you endured was the blessed and necessary collapse of a house that would have never withstood the greater test to come. It was a holy demolition. And in its aftermath, in the humility of your acknowledged weakness, you became willing, for the first time, to build your life upon the one true, unshakable foundation in me. The failure that dismantled your pride has now prepared you for a new kind of success, a success that is rooted in my grace, empowered by my spirit, and which will therefore be a success that is both glorious and enduring. Your failure was not the end of your story. It was the necessary setup for your great and graceful victory. And consider the painful setup of your long and wearying waiting, the season of stillness that felt so empty and in vain. You have looked upon that chapter as a waste of your precious time, a sign of your being forgotten. But I, the author who works in the hidden seasons, I was using that very waiting as the setup for your profound appreciation and your deep capacity for joy. A blessing that comes too easily is often received too lightly. A joy that has not been preceded by sorrow is often taken for granted. Your long wait, my beloved, has been a sacred education for your heart. It has taught you patience. It has deepened your trust and has cultivated within you a profound appreciation for my presence and my promises. Now, when the new beginning arrives, when the blessings begin to flow, you will not receive them with a casual sense of entitlement. You will receive them with the tear-filled gratitude, the reverent awe of a soul that has known their absence. The very length of your waiting will make the joy of your fulfillment all the more sweet, all the more profound, all the more cherished. The waiting was not a meaningless void. It was the sacred, necessary setup that has prepared you to fully, completely, and joyfully receive the magnificent new beginning that has been written for you. This is the great, redemptive artistry of your divine author. My child, I waste nothing. I redeem everything. I take the most painful, most confusing, most tragic elements of your past chapters, and I reveal them to be the most brilliant, most necessary, and most masterful plot points in your entire story. The very things that you thought had ruined your narrative are, in fact, the very things that are making it a masterpiece of grace. When you look back on your life story now, I invite you to read it with this new, divine understanding. See the hand of your loving author, even in the most difficult passages. See the foreshadowing of your present hope in your past pain. See the beautiful, intricate, and loving way that every single event has been perfectly woven together to bring you to this very moment, this very threshold of your most glorious chapter yet. Your past is not a source of your shame. It is the foundation of your strength. Your wounds are not a sign of your brokenness. They are the evidence of your healing. And your last chapter was not a tragic end. It was the perfect, necessary, and divinely inspired setup for the magnificent new beginning that has already been written for you, and which is now, at last, ready to be revealed. The world may read your past chapter and draw a simple, sorrowful conclusion, but they do not have the author's notes. They do not see the larger plot. They do not understand the beautiful, redemptive arc of your entire story. But you are now being given those notes. You are being led in on the divine secret. And this knowledge is meant to bring a profound peace and a joyful acceptance to your heart concerning all that you have been through. Every tear you have shed has been a watering of the soil for the new garden that is to come. Every moment of your faithful endurance has been a strengthening of the foundations for the new temple that is to be built. Every prayer you have whispered in the darkness has been a seed of the light that is about to dawn. Nothing has been wasted. It has all been sacred. It has all been purposeful. It has all been the perfect setup. This is the love of your author, a love so profound that it does not just write a happy ending, but it makes the entire story, even the most painful parts, meaningful, beautiful, and good. The purpose of your past chapter has now been revealed. It has brought you here, to this place of readiness, of hope, of anticipation, and it has prepared you perfectly for the new, beautiful, and glorious story that is about to unfold. Imagine a great tree that has endured many harsh winters. It bears the marks of its struggles, the gnarled branches, the weathered bark. A person who does not understand the ways of trees might see only its imperfections, but a wise gardener sees a thing of immense beauty and strength. They know that every harsh winter has caused the tree's roots to go deeper, its wood to become denser, its very being more resilient. The struggles have not diminished the tree. They have given it its character, its strength, its profound and rugged beauty. So it is with you, my child. The painful chapter of your past has not ruined you. It has given you a depth, a strength, a beauty that you could have acquired in no other way. It was the sacred, purposeful setup for the magnificent being you are today, my precious child. Now that you have come to understand the sacred purpose of your past chapter, now that you see that its painful ending was not a tragedy, but a masterful and necessary setup for the new and glorious story I have written for you. The season of the sacred pause now yields to the season of divine revelation, the manuscript of your new beginning, which has been finished and held in my loving mind from before time, now begins to manifest upon the page of your life. After so long of staring at what appeared to be a blank and terrifying emptiness, I invite you now to look again with the eyes of your heart, for you will begin to see the first beautiful words of your new chapter appearing on the page. These are the initial, subtle, yet undeniable signs that the story is continuing. A new idea, a flicker of hope, an unexpected opportunity, and they are the irrefutable proof that your story is not over, and that new beginning is indeed already written for you. Imagine a page written with a special, invisible ink, an ink that becomes visible only when the gentle warmth of a loving hand is applied. For so long, you have been looking at the page of your future and have seen only blankness. But now, my child, I am applying the gentle warmth of my presence, the focused heat of my love, to that very page. And as I do, the words that have been there all along, the story of your new beginning that I have already written, now begin to appear, line by beautiful line, word by glorious word. What are these first words? My beloved, how will you recognize them? They are often subtle, for a great story does not begin with a loud explosion, but with a quiet, intriguing opening sentence. Perhaps the very first word to appear on your page is a new, life-giving thought. For so long, your mind has been a closed loop, rereading the sorrowful text of your past chapter. But now, into that closed room, a fresh breeze blows. A new thought, an idea that is not born of your own weary thinking, will appear in your consciousness. It may be a sudden, creative solution to a problem you had given up on. It may be a surprising insight into your own heart. It may be a simple, hopeful thought that feels like a ray of sunlight in a dark room. What if things could be different? This, my child, is the first word of your new chapter, inscribed by my own hand upon the page of your mind. It is a seed of my truth, a thought from my own mind, shared with yours. And it contains within it the potent, creative power to begin an entirely new narrative. You will also see the first words appearing in the form of a flicker of authentic, resilient hope. The hope you have tried to manufacture in the past was a fragile thing, easily extinguished. But the hope that now begins to emerge is of a different quality. It is a hope that has substance, a hope that feels less like your own effort and more like a gift being given. You may find your spirit stirring with a quiet optimism that your circumstances cannot explain. You may feel a gentle, buoyant sense of expectation, a feeling that something good is on its way. This, my beloved, is the emotional ink of your new story becoming visible. It is a theme of resurrection, of joy, of redemption, beginning to make its presence felt in your own heart. It is the first note of the new, triumphant symphony I have composed for you, a note of such pure and beautiful hope that it begins to silence the old, mournful dirges of your past. Look also, my child, for the first words of your new chapter as they appear in the form of a small, unexpected opportunity. For so long, your world has felt like a story of closed doors, of dead ends, but I am the author who can write a door where there was only a wall. And now, you may begin to see the first signs of my pen at work in your circumstances. It may be a small thing, a phone call you did not expect, a conversation that opens a new possibility, a resource that becomes available, a person who enters your life with a piece of the puzzle you have been missing. These are not random coincidences, my child. They are the initial plot points of your new story, deliberately, lovingly written by me to begin to move your narrative forward. I am inviting you to see these small openings not as insignificant chances, but as the very first sentence of your new adventure, a sentence that will lead you, line by line, to a place of magnificent fulfillment. Each of these opportunities is a word from me that says, the story is moving now, the plot is advancing, and I am leading you into a new and beautiful scene. And you will feel these first words appearing as a profound and gentle shift in your own inner being. You will begin to feel a new strength, a new resilience, a new peace. You will notice that you are no longer just the weary character from the last tragic chapter. You are becoming someone new. You may face an old fear and find that you now have the courage to meet it. You may be in a difficult situation and find that you now possess a quiet wisdom to navigate it. This is the character development of your story's hero. You beginning to manifest. It is the proof that the preparatory work of your last chapter was not in vain, that it has forged within you the very qualities you will need to live out the glorious new story that has been written for you. My child, these first words are my love, making itself visible. They are my promise, beginning to take tangible form. They are the undeniable proof that your story is not over. I invite you to become a loving reader of your own life. Pay attention to these first words. When a new, hopeful thought appears, cherish it. When a flicker of authentic joy touches your heart, receive it. When a small door of opportunity opens, have the courage to step through it. When you feel a new strength rising within you, own it with a humble gratitude by noticing and by valuing these first words. You are participating with me in the joyful unfolding of your own story. You are aligning your heart with the new narrative. You are declaring your faith in the author. And your faith, your attention, your cooperation will make the invisible ink of my love appear all the more quickly, all the more brightly. Upon the page of your life, the terror of the blank page is over. My beloved, it was never truly blank. It was simply waiting for the appointed time of its revelation. And that time is now. The first words have appeared. The new beginning has been initiated. and the story that has already been written for you. A story of grace, of healing, of joy, and of a glorious redeemed purpose is now beautifully, miraculously beginning to unfold. Imagine finding a secret message written in invisible ink. At first, you see only a blank sheet of paper, a source of confusion and disappointment. But then, a trusted friend shows you the secret that by applying a gentle warmth, a beautiful, hidden message will be revealed. And as you hold the page over the flame of a candle, you watch and wonder as the first brown letters begin to appear. In that moment, your entire perception of the page changes. It is no longer an empty nothing. It is a treasure, a mystery, a promise of a full and wonderful message. So it is with your life now. I am the love and warmth. And these first words appearing in your life are the proof that the entire beautiful message of your new beginning is there, waiting to be revealed. This process is a gentle one. I will not overwhelm you with the entire chapter at once. I will reveal it to you line by line, sentence by sentence, at a pace you can receive with joy and not with fear. Your part is to simply keep your heart open, your spirit attentive, and your faith engaged. The story I have written for you is a good one. My child, it is the best story. It has been authored by a love that knows you completely and desires your ultimate joy. The first words are your guarantee of the beauty of the whole. Trust them. Trust me. And let us begin to read this beautiful new story together. The world may still try to tell you the old story, the story of your ending, of your failure, but you do not have to listen to their reading. You have access to the author's own manuscript. You are seeing the new words as they appear. Trust the new story over the old one. Trust my words over theirs. This is a time of profound wonder and discovery. Every day holds the potential for a new word to appear, a new part of the story to be revealed. Live in this state of holy anticipation. The narrative is now in motion, and it is moving towards a destination that is more glorious than you can imagine. The full stop has been revealed to be a mere comma, a pause for breath, right? And the new words that are now appearing are the beginning of a sentence, a chapter, a life of magnificent and joyful new beginnings. The first word of your new chapter is grace. The second is hope. The third is love. These are the words I am writing upon your life. And as these words string together to form sentences, and the sentences to form paragraphs, you will find your life becoming a beautiful and powerful testament to the author of all good stories, the God who has declared over you that your past is not your final word, and that a new beginning has already, and so lovingly, been written for you. My precious child, as the first beautiful words of your new chapter begin to appear on the once blank page of your life, as you witness the initial, tangible signs that your story is indeed continuing in a new and glorious direction, you are now invited into the most essential and peace-giving practice of all. You have known the terror of the blank page, and you have been given the assurance that a new beginning is already written. And now, my beloved, comes the sacred art of learning to trust the author's hand. This is the journey of consciously letting go of your deep-seated fear of the future, of learning to walk forward in faith, trusting the beautiful, pre-written narrative to unfold, and of placing your complete confidence in the skill, the wisdom, and the boundless love of the divine author who is penning your magnificent story. For so long, you have been trying to be the author of your own life, or you have feared that there was no author at all, that your story was just a random and often cruel series of events. But now you know the truth. There was an author, and he is your loving Father, and he has already written for you a story of redemption and of joy. To trust my hand is to finally let go of the immense, exhausting burden of trying to write your own narrative, and to instead enter into the peaceful, joyful, and adventurous role of the beloved protagonist, eagerly turning the pages each day to see what beautiful plot twist your loving author will reveal next. How do you learn to trust my hand, my child, especially after a chapter that has been so filled with pain? It begins with consciously releasing your fear of the future. The terror of the blank page was, at its heart, a fear of the unknown, because you could not see what was written. You assumed the worst. But now I have told you that the future is not a terrifying void. It is a finished manuscript of my grace. And this knowledge is the very key that unlocks the prison of your anxiety. When you feel the old fear of the future creeping in, the what-if scenarios beginning to play in your mind, you can now meet them with this powerful, anchoring truth. You can say to your own fearful heart, I don't have to be afraid of tomorrow, for my loving God, the master storyteller, has already written it, and he has assured me that it is a story of goodness, of healing, and of joy. This is not a denial of the future's uncertainties, but a profound declaration that you trust the one who holds that future in his hands. It is choosing to place your faith not in your ability to predict or control what comes next, but in my character as a good and faithful author. As you practice this, as you learn to rest in the security of your pre-written new beginning, the frantic, anxious fear of the future will begin to lose its grip, replaced by a quiet, serene, and hope-filled curiosity. Secondly, learning to trust my hand means embracing the beautiful discipline of walking by faith, one step at a time. I have told you that the manuscript of your new beginning is already complete in my mind, but I will not reveal the entire story to you at once. To do so would overwhelm you and would rob you of the beautiful journey of discovery. I am an author who delights in suspense, in surprises, in the joyful unfolding of a beautiful plot. And so, I will reveal your story to you, line by line, page by page, chapter by chapter. Your part is to learn to be at peace with this. It is to learn to walk by faith, not by sight. It is to trust the sentence I am revealing to you today, without demanding to know the ending of the entire book. You have already seen the first words appearing. The new thought, the small opportunity, the moment of grace. Your act of faith is to trust these first words and to act upon them without needing to see the whole paragraph. It is to take the one step I am illuminating for you now, trusting that when you have taken it, I will surely illuminate the next. This is a profound letting go of your need to know, your need to control. And in this letting go, you will find a new freedom, a new peace, a joyful lightness of being, as you learn to simply, trustingly, walk with me, your author and your guide, through the beautiful, unfolding story of your life. This also means you must learn to trust my skill as an author. A truly great story is not always an easy one. It has moments of tension, of conflict, of challenge. These are the very things that make the story compelling, that develop the character of the hero, that make the final resolution so satisfying. As your new chapter unfolds, there may be plot points that you do not understand, challenges that feel difficult, moments that do not seem to be leading towards the promised happy ending. In these moments, you must trust my skill. You must trust that I, the divine author, know what I am doing. You must believe that every event, every character, every challenge I write into your story has a sacred purpose, that it is an essential part of the overall design, a design that is ultimately for your good and for my glory. An actor who trusts their director will deliver their lines with confidence, even the difficult ones, knowing they're part of a brilliant play. So I invite you to trust me, your director. When a challenging scene is written for you, do not despair. Instead, play your part with a courageous faith, knowing that you are in the hands of a master storyteller, and that every single part of the story is contributing to a magnificent and triumphant finale. And this leads to the joyful practice of learning to embrace the plot twists. Your human mind loves predictability. It loves to know what is coming next, but a story without surprises is a dull story indeed. And I am not writing a dull story for you, my child. I am writing a divine epic filled with the surprising, breathtaking, and glorious plot twists of my grace. There will be moments when your story takes a turn you did not expect. A door you thought was essential may close. A path you are certain was yours may end. In these moments, your old fear may try to tell you that the story has gone wrong, that the author has made a mistake. But I invite you to a new response, a response of joyful, curious trust. When an unexpected turn occurs, you can now say, "Ah, a plot twist. I wonder what beautiful, new thing my author is up to now. I wonder what more glorious destination this unexpected detour will lead me to." To live with this spirit is to live in a state of constant wonder, of joyful adventure. It is to be free from the rigid confines of your own limited expectations and to be open to the infinite, creative, and gloriously surprising possibilities of a life lived in the hands of a God who is also a master storyteller. This, my beloved, is the art of learning to trust the author's hand. It is a journey of releasing your fear of the future, of walking by faith, of trusting my skill, and of joyfully embracing my divine surprises. It is the journey from being an anxious, would-be author of your own small tale to becoming the peaceful, trusting, and delighted protagonist of my grand, eternal epic. As you practice this, my child, you will find your life transformed. The agonizing weight of trying to control your destiny will be lifted. The fear of the unknown will be replaced by a joyful curiosity, and your heart will be filled with a deep and abiding peace. The peace of a soul that knows its story has been written by love itself, and that the ending, and every chapter leading to it, is guaranteed to be beautiful, redemptive, and glorious beyond all measure. Trust me, my child, I am a very good author, and the story I have written for you is a masterpiece. Every time you choose to trust my unfolding narrative, over your own fearful predictions. You are strengthening your faith and deepening our intimacy. You are telling me that you believe in my goodness more than you believe in the world's chaos. This is a beautiful act of worship. This trust is not a blind trust. It is a trust that is now being built upon the evidence of the first words you are already seeing. You have seen the first signs of the new chapter. And so your trust in the author's skill is now rooted in experience. You can trust my future work because you're already seeing the beauty of my present work. The world will continue to urge you to take up your own pen, to write your own story according to its own predictable and ultimately unsatisfying plots. But you have been initiated into a deeper, more beautiful way, the way of divine co-creation, where you, the protagonist, joyfully and trustingly act out the beautiful story that is being written for you by the one who loves you most. Let this be your peace, my beloved. Your story is not a chaotic series of accidents. It is a divinely authored narrative, and every word is imbued with purpose and with love. And as you learn to trust the hand of the author, you will find yourself living a story that is more beautiful, more meaningful, and more filled with joy than you could have ever written for yourself. The manuscript is perfect, and the author is love. This trust is the ultimate letting go. It is the final, beautiful surrender of the small, fearful self to the great, loving reality of my sovereign care. It is the end of your struggle. You no longer have to create your life. You are now free to simply receive it, to live it, to enjoy it, page by beautiful page. The terror of the blank page has been replaced by the joyful anticipation of a story already written. A story whose every chapter is a testament to my extravagant, redeeming, and victorious love for you, my precious child. As you learn the beautiful and liberating art of trusting my hand as the divine author, as you release your fear of the blank page and begin to read with faith the new lines I am writing in your life, the magnificent purpose of this entire journey now comes to its glorious fulfillment. You are now stepping out of the epilogue of your past sorrows and onto the opening page of your new beginning. The manuscript that was finished in my heart is now being made manifest in your world. And now, my beloved, you are invited to experience the profound joy, the deep peace, and the glorious freedom of living out your glorious new chapter, a chapter authored by my perfect love, a story that redeems all that has come before and fills your future with a light, a purpose, and a beauty beyond your most cherished dreams. The old story is over. The curtain has fallen on that tragic act. And now, as the curtain rises again, you find yourself on a new stage, in a new scene, with a new and beautiful part to play. This is not a sequel that rehashes the old themes of sorrow and loss. This is an entirely new volume, a new movement in your life's symphony. And its themes are grace, healing, restoration, and triumphant, joyful love. To live out this new chapter is to become the living embodiment of the beautiful story that I have so lovingly, so meticulously written for you. Experience, first, the profound joy of a beautiful narrative. For so long, you have felt you were a character trapped in a story you did not want to be in, a story filled with pain, confusion, and a sense of hopelessness. But now, as you begin to live out the pages of this new chapter, you will find yourself in a story that your soul delights in, you will feel the deep, resonant joy that comes from living a life that is filled with meaning, with grace, with beauty. This is the joy of the actor who has been given the role of a lifetime, a role that fits them perfectly, a role that allows them to express their truest and most beautiful self. Your days will no longer feel like a series of random, painful events, but like the beautiful, coherent, and purposeful unfolding of a masterful plot. You will wake each morning with a sense of holy anticipation, an eagerness to discover what new, beautiful sentence now I will write into your experience that day. This is a joy that is deep and abiding, for it is not based on fleeting pleasures, but on the profound satisfaction of living a life that you know is a beautiful, divinely authored story, a story that is moving with an unerring grace towards a glorious and happy ending. As you live out this new chapter, you will also experience a deep and unshakable peace, the terror of the blank page, the anxiety of an unknown and frightening future is now gone, and in its place comes the profound peace of a protagonist who has absolute trust in their author. You no longer have to carry the immense, exhausting burden of trying to write your own story, of trying to control the plot, of trying to ensure a good outcome. You can release that burden completely, for you know that the story has already been written, and that its author is infinitely wise, infinitely powerful, and infinitely loving. This trust brings a magnificent rest to your soul. You can walk through the unfolding scenes of your life, even those that contain challenges, with a new and serene calm, for you know that every plot point, every challenge has been written by a loving hand and serves a redemptive purpose in the greater narrative. You are free from the anxiety of the what-ifs, for you are resting in the certainty of what is in my eternal reality. This is the peace of a beloved character who has so completely surrendered to the story that they find their ultimate freedom, their ultimate safety, their ultimate rest in the beautiful, unfolding will of the author. This new chapter also brings with it a glorious, authentic freedom. You are free from the old, tragic role you once felt you had to play. You are no longer the victim, the broken one, the one whose story ended in ruin. The costume of that old character has been laid aside, and you are now free to be the magnificent hero of this new and triumphant tale. This is the freedom of a new identity, the liberation of seeing yourself as I see you, and of living from that truth. You are free to love with an open heart, for the story I have written is one where your heart is healed and made resilient. You are free to pursue your purpose with a bold confidence, for you know that this purpose has been divinely assigned to you. You are free to be joyful, to be creative, to be your most authentic self, for the entire theme of this new chapter is one of glorious, loving, and victorious self-expression. The old, confining script has been discarded, and the new script I have given you is a script of immense, beautiful, and expansive freedom. And all of this, my beloved, culminates in the joy of living a life of redeemed and fulfilled purpose. As you walk through the beautiful narrative of this new chapter, you will find yourself effortlessly, gracefully, joyfully living out the very purpose for which you were created. The events I have written, the people I will bring into your life, the opportunities I will present, all will work together to lead you into the full and beautiful expression of your divine calling. Your life will become a testament to the truth that your past suffering has been perfectly redeemed, used by me as the very foundation for a life of profound meaning and of service to the world. Your life, this new and beautiful story, will become a source of hope and light for others. They will read the story of your transformation, and it will inspire them to believe in the possibility of a new beginning for themselves. They will see the beauty that has emerged from your ashes, the joy that has been restored after your sorrow, the purpose that has been revealed after your confusion. And they will know that the author of your story is a God of immense power, of profound wisdom, and of an extravagant, redeeming love. This is the great and glorious outcome. My child, the terror of the blank page has been transformed into the joyful adventure of a story already written. The tragic ending has been revealed to be but the prelude to a magnificent new beginning. And you, my beloved, are now free to live out this beautiful, hope-filled, and divinely authored chapter with a heart full of peace, of joy, of purpose, and of profound gratitude to the one who has never, for a single instant, stopped writing your beautiful, eternal, and victorious story. This new chapter is not a fantasy. It is your new, lived reality every day. As you choose to trust my authorship, as you choose to read your life with faith, you will see its words, its sentences, its beautiful paragraphs unfolding before you. The joy of this new life is a resilient joy. It is a joy that is not afraid of life's remaining difficulties, for it knows they are but plot points in a story that is guaranteed to have a good and glorious outcome. The peace of this new life is an unshakable peace, for it is rooted not in the absence of problems, but in the presence of the author. The freedom of this new life is an authentic freedom, for it is the freedom to be the very person I created you to be. And the purpose of this new life is a profound fulfillment, for it is the joy of being a living, breathing expression of my own creative, redemptive love in the world. You are my story, my child. You are my poem. You are my song. And the music we will now make together will be a symphony of grace that will resound for all eternity. So step fully into your new chapter. My beloved, embrace your role as a triumphant hero. Live out the beautiful story that has been written for you with a joyful and courageous heart. For your story was never over, and its most beautiful, most glorious, and most joy-filled chapters are only now beginning. The world may be surprised by your new story. It may not fit their expectations. They had already written your ending, but I am the author who delights in surprising the world, in defying its bleak predictions, in writing endings that are so filled with grace and with glory that they leave all who witness them in a state of wonder. Your life is now one of those stories, a beautiful surprise that testifies to the goodness and the power of your God. Let go of the old narrative completely. Do not allow it to be the lens through which you read this new, beautiful text. This is a new volume, a new beginning, a new creation, and it is all yours, a gift of my love, a testament to my faithfulness, a story that has been, from before time, already written for you. As the beautiful, life-giving words of your new chapter now fill the pages of your days. My cherished child, let the profound peace and the joyful security of this truth be your eternal comfort. The terror of the blank page, the grief for a story that seemed to have ended in ruin, has been vanquished by the glorious revelation that you are the beloved protagonist in a divine epic, authored by a love that is perfect and a wisdom that is infinite. You have learned that my seeming pause was a sacred and creative preparation, and that my eternal mind has always held the finish. Beautiful manuscript of your new beginning. You have journeyed from the despair of a full stop to the joyful anticipation of a story that continues to unfold in beauty and in grace. Rest now in this beautiful narrative. My beloved, trust the author. Delight in the unfolding plot. For your story is not a tragedy, but a masterpiece of my redemptive love. And I will continue to write beautiful, glorious, and joyful chapters for you, for all of your days, and for all of eternity.